Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is iTalk. Here and in today's video, we have a brand new video. So we are just so close to Chapter 2 Season 8, so I thought, hey, we're gonna make some videos talking about Chapter 2 Season 7. And we're gonna be doing a tier list of all of the collaboration skins that we got this season. We're gonna go over all the skins that came out for this season, as I do that for every season. And today we're going to be talking about my thoughts about the season as a whole. We're gonna go from like the beginning of the season all the way until the end and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the season. So first thing to go over real fast here is the Battle Pass. I thought the Battle Pass this season was actually kind of mid. I didn't think that this was a super groundbreaking Battle Pass. However, it was very unique in the sense that you were able to choose which things you could buy first, and that was a first for Fortnite. That was a first for the Battle Pass to be like that. Will it be that way for the next season? I actually have zero idea. Something tells me they might try that again, but I kind of liked how they had it. You could just basically get whatever you wanted first, and then you were able to unlock pages by completing the pages. So it wasn't completely non-linear, but at least you were able to get, oh, I want the emote first. Oh, I want the banner first. Like, at least it had that, and I think that is really respectable and really good. And quickly over with the skins, I think the best skins in this Battle Pass was Sunny and Sloan and Gugamon. Out of the other skins, there really wasn't too much else I was super into, but I'll talk about that when we get to that in the Chapter 2 Season 7 skin review video. So moving on from that, we did have some new things, including new items and crafting. So crafting in Chapter 2 Season 6 was very cluttered, I like to think. That season, honestly, I don't like to be mean, but I think that season was the worst season of this chapter just because of how cluttered everything was. None of the weapons felt satisfying to use. You couldn't get any decent first shot accuracy weapons without building them, and that was very annoying. So what did Fortnite do for this season? Well, we got saucers, which these things were a little bit broken in the very beginning of the season, and they were really annoying to deal with, but they did tone them down and they are a lot more manageable. These things are not very hard to deal with anymore. I think they were annoying to deal with mostly because of the NPCs. They would drag you around, and it's weird because they would mark on the map in purple lettering where a bunch of these things would be at, and I usually never landed over there because I knew I was going to get annoyed by the NPC alien trespasser guys, and that was just something I wasn't really into. So overall, I think they were mostly a negative, but at least they were decent transportation, and I didn't hate them. I was just annoyed by them with the NPCs for sure. Then moving on from that, we had the Chimera Raygun, which this thing is not terrible. It's okay, it has infinite ammo, and it hits like a truck. Like, if you get a lot of shots on at once, it will do a lot of damage, but I always thought that this thing wasn't amazing, and I never used this in my loadout. Honestly, most of the weapons that we got, I flat out didn't use this season, and that wasn't to say that like all the weapons were bad. It's just that I like using my first shot accuracy weapons, as well as some other things that we will get to for sure. Moving on from that, we had the pulse rifle. Not a bad gun. Once again, this weapon is not terrible. It's better to shoot when you're not aiming down because it shoots faster, or you can aim down to get more accurate. It's okay. Again, it's not a weapon I would choose if I had the option to pick it up. I would not pick it up unless I didn't have another AR on me, but it's not terrible. And once again, it's just kind of like the Chimera Raygun in my opinion, where it's good in the right hands, but I was just not the biggest fan of it, and that's just how I felt about it. Now moving on, we have the Recon Scanner. This is probably the most broken item that we had this season, and we thought that they would nerf these things in the very beginning, and I don't think they ever really did. And yeah, these things ran rampant where you can shoot these out and you would be able to see people within the vicinity every 15 seconds. And that is a bit busted. It had 2 bullets in it and it would recharge every 15 seconds and it was strong. I think they should have made it so you could only hold one at a time, because you could hold more than one at a time and kind of abuse like the whole UAV recon thing. Like, you were able to see everyone in that vicinity and it's super broken. I would use this in my 3rd slot to replace the SMGs because I'm not a big fan of SMGs. I would use Recon Scanner if I could get it. Now, one of my favorite things to do in Fortnite is to snipe, and the Railgun, oh man, The Railgun was a beast this season. It did insane damage to vehicles and to the UFOs, which is great because that was a good way to get rid of them. And also, it was just such a fun weapon to use. This thing basically had collateral damage, where it could shoot through walls and easily take opponents out. The Recon Scanner Railgun combo was super deadly and super broken in my opinion. But that's one of the things I liked about this season, is that the weapons felt fun to use, and some of them were a little bit busted for sure, and I think that's totally okay, because at least with the Railgun, you still had to aim the thing, you still had to charge it up and stuff like that, and there was a big beam to give away that you were about to shoot someone. Like, yeah, you have that, and it's still so fun. I love sniping, so the fact that we got this in the game, it's super fun. Hopefully we get this in creative, because I know for a fact that we're probably not going to have this in the next season. It's such a fun weapon to use. Same with the Recon Scanner, but Recon Scanner without a doubt was the most broken item in this season for sure. Then moving on from that, we had the crafting. Now, like I said, Chapter 2, Season 6 was probably the worst season due to the crafting system and none of the guns feeling good to use in my personal opinion. But here, they simplified it. Now it's one little thing that you can use to buff up your weapons with the nuts and bolts. You can change your SMG to a rapid fire SMG. You can turn your pump into a lever action, and you can also turn a normal AR into a burst AR. This was so much cleaner, and this was so much better than the mechanical parts and the bones and all the other stuff that you had to do with last season. I could not stand that season, so I'm happy they simplified it for us. It's very well done. And moving on from that, we got a ton of content this season. There was so much we actually got, and I want to go over a few of those things. As I'm going through the news here, we've got new weapons here from the 17.10 update. We got what was called abductors. Now, abductors would basically take you into this area where you would be able to basically get better weapons for you and your group of people. And overall, it got stale for me. I did not like the abductors after like maybe the first week they were available. They would bring the abductors back like once every other week. It'd be 1 week, then the next week they would take them out, then the next week they would bring them in. They've been doing that for a little bit now, and I'm happy that they did it that way. I'm happy they didn't just keep them around because it got kind of stale for me, I'm not gonna lie, but it was still like fun. I'd say it was still fun. And then we also had alien parasites make their way into the map, which these things are disgusting. These things always creeped me out. Hated the noises they made. And I mean, they were good. I don't think that these were bad for the season. It made sense for the theme and everything. A lot of people kind of claim that these were broken because if you have one on your head, you could just eat a shot to the head. So if someone snipes you in the head, usually that would insta-kill you. But if you had this on your head, it would just nullify anything. And it would just leave your head and you would have no damage. Like, it was pretty substantial. It also gave you bigger jumps. It made you move a little bit faster. Controversial, I guess you could say, about the alien parasites, but overall, I don't think they were that big of a deal. Glad they'll be gone because, once again, I think they were kind of gross. Moving on from that, we had the alien nanites, which you could throw this down on the ground and you can make everything into, like, zero gravity, which was funny. I thought this was decent, but they actually ended up doing this to Holly Hedges, like, permanently. And it kind of ruined the location for me. Like, I like the gimmick, but I don't like it if it takes over an entire POI. So that was a little bit of a negative there, but you could also combine that with other weapons to make better weapons for yourself. None of which I really care to use besides using a sniper to create the railgun, because the railgun was busted. Didn't like the Chimera ray gun. Did not like the pulse rifle, so I would always use it for the ray gun. And then moving on from that, we had the inflatables, and that was awesome. This is probably one of the best weapons they had in the game that was like for fun and that wasn't super broken or overpowered, was the inflatable. Think Ballers from back in Chapter 1 Season 8, but make them into an inflatable, and these things were hilarious. It was one shot, it would break, good for transportation, super funny and silly. I mean, you can make it move if you wanted to. It was really funny. Glad we had this item in the game. I worry it's gonna leave though. I'm scared that this is gonna leave with this season because next season most likely is not involved with that. Moving on from that, we also had preferred item slots. This was such a good thing for Fortnite to give us. Basically, you can choose where a gun goes in your inventory whenever you want. So if you pick up a shotgun and you want them on your second slot, it will go automatically to your second slot, which is amazing. I'm happy they added something like this because I feel like we needed this a long time ago, and more quality of life changes like this really benefit the game, and I really do hope Fortnite continues with that after we move on from this season. We also had Rainbow Royale, which I talked about in a podcast already. If you want my full opinions on it, there's a podcast for it. We also had Short Night 2, which is really neat. You basically got to see a whole bunch of internet animations, including Gilded Guy, who became a Fortnite skin, which was awesome. Really awesome event. I enjoyed this more than the first one, and I think that's just because more of these animations were more indie and they weren't super high production, which, not to say that high production's bad, but it's nice to see like more underground animators make their way into Fortnite. I think that was a really neat thing for them to do. They also collaborated with Ferrari, so that was pretty cool for sure. We also got another new weapon in the form of the plasma cannon. Now, this thing was also pretty broken because you could basically just break builds with this instantly, and you'd be able to break into other people's areas, and it was really strong. It only had 5 uses, but it was still a pretty strong weapon. Even in some customs I've been in, they actually don't allow you to use the weapon because they think it's really not fair. And honestly, I mean, there's no counter to it. There really isn't a counter to this thing besides it having low ammo. So yeah, I can honestly understand why people did not enjoy that. We also had the Gravitron item, which we got with the 17.30 update. And this thing is kind of bad. It's fun to use with friends and stuff, but overall, I've never used it in a way where it's like, yeah, it's really strong, because it kind of isn't unless you know what you're doing with it, and I genuinely didn't know what I was doing with it before. It's a fun weapon. It's fun and goofy. It reminds me of actual Fortnite, so that's always really cool. We had also the Ariana Grande concert. I actually never posted my reaction to it, and I never even talked about my thoughts on it. And I guess I can talk about that now. I will also talk about the Ariana Grande skin twice, because I'm going to be talking about it for the tier list video of all the collabs we got, as well as all the skins in general. And overall, the event was gorgeous. I don't like how people were comparing it to Travis Scott. I mean, obviously you're going to compare it because it is another concert we had, but don't like say, oh, Travis was better, Travis was better. Like, I don't know. I liked both of them, right? Like, can't I like both of them without having to pick which one I liked more? Regardless, I think the Ariana Grande concert was really chill. It was very animated. Hearing Mac Miller's voice again really did pull at my heartstrings, because that honestly caught me off guard. I did not think they would use him for this thing, and it kind of made me sad because he's gone and everything. But besides that, it was still overall a really fun time. Moving on from that, we also had the Propifier, which was an item that allowed you to turn into a bunch of different props if you wanted to. Super silly, not strong at all, but it was just a fun thing to use. And that's what Fortnite did with this season. They brought the fun back, which is a very good thing. And then they kind of took a 180 here, where they went back with the Wild Weeks, and we had this last season, and the first week was actually all silenced weapons, and I'm not gonna lie, didn't enjoy this very much. Once again, no first shot accuracy weapons. I mean, you did have it, but it was like, it was a lot more difficult to shoot the Sans Scar everywhere. It just was not feeling that, but that's why I'm happy we also got the Imposters mode, because that mode was super fun. It's still really fun. I kind of burned myself out of it. I kind of figured I would do that, but regardless, the mode is super fun, and that's what I played when we had that week of silenced weapons, because I just wasn't enjoying that. And moving on from that, we also had some other things. We had J Balvin show up, which that was awesome. We also had some other things. We had like Imposters Trials to play to get some different things, including the second Wild Week, which was just basically a lot of high flying, a lot of launch pads, Rift-to-Goes were back, and bouncers. And that was also frustrating because everyone would just run away from every fight. So yeah, I really don't like these Wild Weeks. I don't think we need them. Like, I'm happy we have them because it does give the sense of like, hey, they're shaking up the meta a bit. But man, like, they don't need to do it. Personally, to me, I don't think they need to do it. But then moving on from that, we had a whole bunch of other things that came out, including the 17.50 update, which that just gave us the third Wild Week, which was giving more Alien and IO weapons to us, which once again wasn't a fan of. Like, I thought that the original way the game was being played was totally balanced. I did not think we needed any of this. Fortnite also dropped a bunch of stuff on us in terms of like challenges for creative LTMs with the island games, as well as the best frenzy, which is when you play together, you will get rewards. That was super fun to do as well. And now we have a big event that is coming out this Sunday. And that's it. That's my thoughts on the season and how everything went down. And like I said, is this season a flawless one? Absolutely not. I didn't like the Holly Hedges area anymore because they had all those alien nanites everywhere. I also did not like landing anywhere that had abductors, and I didn't like landing anywhere that actually had UFOs everywhere. So I was kind of limited with my landing, but the gunplay this season was so good. Besides the wild weeks, I thought that this season was excellent with the gunplay. And yeah, like I said, I think this is the best season that we've had this chapter. The content was non-stop, and I really do appreciate Fortnite for giving us a season like this. Now, I figured it would be a pretty jam-packed season considering the fact that we had a summer for it, and usually summer seasons are always pretty darn good, so I feel like that's why they put so much time and effort into the season. I wonder how the next season will go. We will have to find out. But guys, that is it for the video today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please let me know with a like and subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. And if you'd like to use me for support a creator, my code is ITF. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day or night, everyone. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.